Okay, so ready. And we're live. Hey everybody, welcome again. Thank you for being here at the How to Hustle podcast, hosted by me, your host, YouLoveKat, brought to you by FTV Radio and visuals by Clout Media. Shout out to y'all. I hope everybody's doing good. Everybody's doing A-okay. Wow. What a week. I honestly don't even want to talk about the news. I just really want to get into a couple of things that I've been working on. First of all, I hope you guys had a great weekend. I know I did. And it wasn't like your typical weekend, I will say that. It was more of a working kind of weekend, but like a entrepreneur weekend. Like you're working, but you get to take nice little breaks. And in between that, I had some time to spend with some friends, catch up with some people that I really love and care about. One of my girls is actually going to the Army. Shout out to you, Allah Snow White on Instagram. You already know. She's actually going to the Army, so it was a really nice weekend to really just catch up and see say our see you later and all of that. And during that time, like you think like, all right, somebody's going to the Army, and obviously like I'm focusing on that because that was kind of what happened this weekend. When I think of the Army, or when I think of moving on in a career, there are certain, or moving up in life, leveling up, we tend to have certain like fears, right? Like fears start to come up, right? And that's essentially what we're going to be talking about today. So I think it's prevalent or really interesting that fear came up, and it happens to be our topic of discussion today. Like, how to get over your fear. How do you get over a fear, right? We've all had them as in our personal life, as entrepreneurs, right? Our fears, like how the heck do we get over them so that we can flourish, so that we can grow, so that we can do something more with our life, with our purpose, our meaning. And so when you get down to the nitty gritty of it, like I want you guys to think of or ask yourself, like, what is a fear, right? So it's something you are afraid of, right? I definitely want you guys to keep in mind the difference between fear and danger, right? Like, danger is your life is at risk. and so we experience danger, right? So that kind of fear that comes with danger it's very obvious, right? So I don't want you guys to kind of like focus on that, right? Because people fear being in a burning home, right? I hope I don't trigger anybody, but like that is something that's dangerous. You can lose your life, legit, right? So I don't really want to talk about danger. I want to focus more on things that we fear that isn't danger. Excuse me. Some people, it may be public speaking. I know I actually used to teach a public speaking class, and some of the experiences that the kids would go through were really nerve-wracking, because they're like, this is my first time really doing a big presentation or talking, and talking about this topic that I just was introduced to, or, some people actually rather like not live than to speak in front of people, or a crowd of people, and it's because they have a fear, right? That fear, it could go even deeper. It could be like, I fear that I'm gonna faint because I'm so nervous because people are looking at me, and whatever the case is. Some people fear like fears bugs. Some people fear FOMO, fear of missing out. Okay, so I want to focus on like those fears. And when being an entrepreneur, right, or when trying to level up, right, it's very important to know what your fears are, right? Like, you need to be able to identify them. Now, identifying them only allows you to be able to do more with them, right? So if you know what your fears are, you're able to try to get past them, I guess, right? At least that's in a perfect world, right? But I'm not here to tell you that it's super easy, right? But just as long as I think we're conscious of it, it makes all of a difference. So how do we identify that, or what is our fear? Now, there are a number of ways that you can do this, right? Again, I'm not a guru. I don't know everything, but I've done some research with our team. We've taken information from we've spoken to entrepreneurs, to people who have reached some type of level of success, or something that they measure themselves by, that we deem credible. And there were a couple of things in common. Journaling. I don't know, I kind of feel like that sounds kind of like corny sometimes, right? It sounds like, what's the word, chuggy now that everyone's using. Right, journaling. Why journaling, right? Because you get to actually keep a record of your thoughts. And then you can identify patterns eventually. Like, what is it that you're writing all the time? Like, I look back in some of my journals that I wrote in when I was younger, and reading them now, like, I realized like I had self-image issues. And mind you, it wasn't even like I was writing these things like, I have a self-image issue, and this, it wasn't so blatant, but certain like words that I would see, or thoughts that I would write, I'm like, oh snap, like I definitely had this issue. So journaling is definitely a good one. It helps you keep legit track of what it is that you're doing. Therapy, y'all. Therapy is, I think now, especially with the pandemic, we were able to see the importance of mental health and therapy. And so I'm really happy that there are more resources and people are turning to that more. But definitely, therapy really is just speaking and dissecting your thoughts, and even diving into past memories to be able to heal them. And I think that that's really important, right? So that's definitely one way to get past some of your fears. Meditation and reflection, right? Speaking with family and friends, right? So there are a number of ways that you can a number of ways to identify what kind of fears that you have, right? Or what are your fears. So now, okay, boom. You got it. You know what your fear is. Now what do you do? Once you're, or maybe you already knew what your fears were or are. So what do you do? This, I think, is where most people reach, right? So like they reach the first, they know what their fear is. And then after this, they're like, yeah, no, I don't want to do that. And don't kill me after what I'm about to say, but it is welcoming rejection. Welcoming rejection is as horrible as it sounds. I will say that. It's as horrible as it sounds. Because none of us like rejection. In fact, I, being a Latina woman, I've been raised on validation from my parents, right? Like, so, you do something good. Oh my God, yes. Good job. And so we do things to get that pat on the back, the good job, the good job. So I think that when we're rejected, right, it's like the complete opposite. But I invite you to think, like, most things that are like new or are become some substantial or important usually are rejected in the first time the idea is presented. We have it with MySpace, we have it with Netflix, we have it with Star Wars, where these people had these ideas, they sought people out to support them, and nobody wanted to support them, and they reject them. So if those people hadn't gotten past that rejection, there's no way that we would have had the classics, that we would have been, we would have reached even our music industry. Look at hip hop. Imagine if every time somebody was, a rapper was rejected, they gave up, right? We wouldn't have a lot of these, this greatness. And that's really what it comes down to, right? Finding your why, finding your greatness. And in order to do that, you got to get past your fears, right? So, for example, well, here's a suggestion. And it's not an easy one. Again, I say this. Most people get to identifying their fear, but never getting past the rejection, right? You have to be willing. You got to kind of put yourself in uncomfortable situations, right? So some ways that you can do this is like literally by doing the opposite action, right? So I don't know if you've ever been to a restaurant, right? And you looked at the menu, you weren't interested, and then you excused yourself and you said, hey, we're not going to eat here, and we left. That is something that a lot of people are not actually capable of, right? Because they feel like they're committed. They feel like, oh my God, now somebody's going to be upset with me and, reject my, like idea of not really wanting the place, right? So I encourage you guys to try something like this. Like, go into a restaurant and ask for some water. Like, water doesn't actually, I know it's very uncomfortable. It's going to get you out of your comfort zone. Now, I'm not saying like, do all these little pranks to all these people, but it's ways to practice being uncomfortable, but still standing your ground and still believing in what you believe in. Because when you wholeheartedly believe in something, there's nobody that can change your mind. Okay? And we see this in many positive and many negative ways. Okay? So you have to literally do like the opposite action. If normally you are super duper scared of making like sales phone calls, or just sales in general, like make a goal to do the complete opposite. If you know that you're like, I'm terrified, just go in. I'm gonna make 50 calls today, and just make 50 calls. The worst thing that can happen is that you have all these no's. But that's the same thing that you would have gotten had you not even made those calls in the first place. When we fear and when we fear rejection, or we can't get past that, when we're not ready for rejection, we completely give in to the idea that we're going to fail. Because think about it. if you never go for it, you literally don't even, like, you already, that's it. It's not going to happen. You don't even have a 50-50 chance. It's a 100% chance that's not going to happen. So if you don't want, if you don't, ultimately it comes down to getting over your rejection. You have to just do the opposite action. There's no sugarcoating it. And that's why I said, like, most people never really get past this. But I promise you, once you get past this, you'll be able to do a lot more. You must get creative and radical, and you gotta get uncomfortable. So this is your daily task, to get uncomfortable. For example, myself. I have a neurodivergent brain. For those of you who don't know what that means I got ADD, right? Mixed with a little bit of anxiety in there. I know, I'm great. Anyway, sometimes I get anxious on the amount of things that I have to respond to, right? Now I have businesses, I have networking, I have platforms, I have things that I gotta get done and have to respond to. If not, let's not even talk about, the brand and my businesses won't grow, but like I won't have food on my plate, right? Like this is the things that I do, the things that I need to respond to are part of my well-being, right? So even at work, when you have a whole bunch of emails you need to respond to, and you kind of find yourself like, I don't really want to respond, like you have to really get past that, because I'm afraid that they're not going to want to, let's say, come on my show, or I'm afraid that they're not, they're going to think that what I'm doing is a hoax, or they're not going to believe me, or they're going to talk down to what I do, or, I'm going to get into some kind of argument. Like, don't even worry about that. What you need to worry about is truthfully just focusing on building what it is that you're focusing, all right, or what you want to build. So I don't hate to say it, I think this is the hardest but the best advice or takeaway from this entire episode today is the thing that scares you the most will give you the most growth. Again, I repeat, the thing that scares you the most will give you the most growth. Okay? So when you do these things, when you find yourself getting past your fears, like let's say, again, let's use the 50 phone call example. I'm going to make 50 phone calls, and usually you make like 3, or you make like 1, or you mostly send emails, or you make none because it's like not like a requirement or something. If you set out to do 50 and you end up doing 30, 40, that's to be celebrated, because it's more than what you're doing. Now, yes, it is not where you want to be, and that is where that comes in of like, it's a constant growth. You have to stay uncomfortable, and now you understand why, because you celebrate what you couldn't accomplish yesterday, and you accomplished it today, but tomorrow I'm going to accomplish something more than what I did today. And that's the goal. That's how you keep a constant, steady, and truthful growth. Okay? So, identifying our fears, in fact, is actually I would say it's not a negative thing to know what your fears are. Like I invite you guys to really be open and find out what your fears are, because when you know what your fears are, you can let them guide you. So let fear guide you, not drive you. Okay? All right, so I want to go back to talking a little bit about identifying that type of fear, right? Because that, again, not everybody knows how or what their fear, what their fear is, or exactly how to identify it. So, I had my team and my team and I got together a couple of things that we feel like or the things that can actually help you identify types of fear. So I want you guys to ask yourselves, what am I afraid of? Do you fear change? Our human brains, we're actually geared to resist change. We love routine so much, so much that when somebody wants to incorporate some kind of change, we complain. Okay? Don't believe it? Look on Instagram, look on your Facebook feed, look on your social media feed when the weather changes like slightly. If it gets hotter, people are complaining. If it gets colder, people are complaining. And it's not truthfully because it's something that bothers them. So it's change. It's not the actual weather that's bothering them. It's the change. We see it with logos, cartoons. Oh, that's whack. Oh, and we back in the day, this used to be better. This used to be better. Not everything was better before, right? Things with time, things change, but I don't think that they always necessarily lose quality, right? So I think it's really important for us to not be so close-minded about change. So a lot of people have, like I said, those issues about change or that fear about change. So you want to evaluate, determine if the next decision is worth the risk. Informed decisions can definitely help you change, right? Like you don't want to just hop into something. So if you fear change, that just means that maybe doing a little bit more research might help. Okay, so that's definitely a suggestion. Like, do your research, and you probably won't freak out as much. Right? It's worth a try. A second one, fear of taking risks. When you take risks with your businesses, you're potentially putting your business at stake, right? So most people, like, they put their all into their business, they put their all into their career. So like, writing this letter to this supervisor might be risky, but I need to identify this issue, or I need to highlight this issue. If not, it can become a bigger issue, or whatever the case is, right? So maybe having fear over that, having risking all that you worked hard for, risking my actual company. Like, if I, let's say, rebrand, am I going to still get the same traffic that I was getting before? Am I still going to make the same sales? Like, and if I don't, the cost of rebranding, it may not be worth it. So these kind of fears, sometimes they can be deterring, because it's like a make it or break it kind of situation. But something, that could be helpful is actually taking time to crunch the numbers and gather like information, right? So if you're in the know, you can make more informed and calculated decisions, right? So you're gonna have to take risks at some point in your business, in your career, whether you're growing to be a business owner or you already are a business owner. You're gonna have to take risks, right? So if you fear taking risks, try to do some research and maybe have some backup plans. A plan for a B and a C, so that a plan A, have plan A, B, and C, so that way you can be a little bit maybe more at rest. So another fear people have is the fear of the unknown. We can't determine what the future holds. So it's best to, whenever you, like, let's say I fear me not remembering a bill that is important for my business to run. So let's say I have a subscription to a program that I use to edit my videos, and if I don't have that, or if I don't pay that, then I can't make the videos, then I can't put out the content, then I can't get paid, and so forth and so forth. So then it's important maybe for me to put my my or those kind of subscriptions on auto pay, right? Preparing for these kinds of things so that it doesn't happen, right? So looking ahead, projecting ahead, and write these things down, whether it's in a notebook, in a notes section in your phone. I love the fact that iPhones now, you can do so much. You can literally like pin your notes. You can add Word documents, pages onto the notes. You can add so many things. You can even add the notes to like your home screen. You can do so much so that you have a platform to, you know, let these fears out, let these concerns out, right? And I think as a business owner, or somebody who's just doing a lot of things, I mean, y'all, we do so much in one day. As humans, as a society, especially in this fast-paced society, like, get your thoughts down. I think it's really important to do that. So entrepreneurship is a lifestyle. So you choose this life because you believed in your idea, right? So always be firm on that and be willing to work hard to achieve your goals, right? Believe in what you believe in, like, or what you stand for. Make sure you don't let go of that. So in order to overcome the fear of unknown, you have to begin with some kind of action. So you have to focus on what you can control versus what you cannot, right? So for example, going back to the, if I'm afraid that my subscriptions, oh my God, okay, you won't know, you may not know if you're always going to be using that. You're not gonna maybe have all the clients that you thought you did, or maybe you planned on making 50 videos in a month for your content, but you won't be able to, or you don't get to. Like, how will I keep up with the subscriptions? Like, go for it. Bet on yourself. The only way you're gonna know is if you actually try it, right? So in order to do this, you can, if you fear of the unknown, just try to prepare for it, and as best as you can. Use your common sense. Put them things on auto pay. Boom. And maybe set a limit on your spending or your company's account so that there's money in there every month for the subscription that keeps your company afloat. So another one, fear of not being good enough. Oh my gosh. How many millennials believe in this one? I'm not going to be good enough. I get it all the time. Well, I used to remember like parents, back in the 90s having homes already by the time that they're like in their early 20s, mid 20s, and we're like 30 years old, just moving out of our parents' house pretty much, feeling inadequate, right? So we're kind of, I think, even as a generation of millennials, like, we brought up thinking that like, oh, we gotta be better, we're not good enough, right? So self-doubt and feeling inadequate can be tough mountains definitely to climb. Everyone has their flaws and shortcomings, so don't always be so hard on yourself, and try not to like measure yourself and compare yourself with other people, right? We see that all the time on the gram. We see that all over social media. We all, are subjected to flashy lifestyles, and lifestyles that we, perfect homes and perfectly stocked fridges and all this stuff that we wish we kind of had, or we are like, oh, my fridge doesn't look like that, oh my God, I must be doing something wrong. And that doesn't necessarily mean that. So I know for a lot of people it could be deeply rooted that they're not good enough as entrepreneurs, or like their products are not going to or services are not going to be good enough to compete. But like, there was so many makeup brands, and Rihanna came up with another makeup brand, and all she did was provide some more colors. She just mixed up a few more colors and put them in bottles, and it skyrocketed and surpassed so many super popular makeup brands. Look at the bread aisle. In a low calorie keto world, we still have bread, and people are still buying bread, still buying all of these kinds of brands. Like, it's possible, you know. Sometimes I think about maybe I should just like start a straw company, but then again, plastic is being banned. Okay, never mind. Anyway, just because like all these things need to get made because we use these things every day, you know. So don't be discouraged just because, you know, oh, I may not be good enough. Like, don't doubt yourself. Chill out. A suggestion to kind of overcome this or combat this is move beyond the fear of inadequacy, right? Like, focus on your unique strengths. Find out what you're good at. Nobody can be you, and you can do something in this world better than anybody else. It's your job to find out, though. I will say that. It is your job to find that out. And really, it's just let yourself go of expectations set by other people. Okay? Make sure whatever expectations it is that you're setting them for yourself. What do you find as successful? How do you measure your success? Okay? And be sure that it's not measuring it with other people, because you don't really know what's going on in other people's lives. And if the numbers of your measurement change and you have inconsistency in that, you're going to have inconsistency in your success as well. Fear of letting people down. No one wants to let their closest people down. You might feel that you won't be able to provide for your family, or you won't be, or it'll be an embarrassment to fail. Like, you know, I'm sure as parents especially, this is a big one. And just remember, you can't please everyone. As long as needs are met, as far as like clothing, home, emotional needs, like, and you believe in your idea, go for it. There will be family members who will never buy a product from you. There will be family members who never say yes to you. And that's okay. In fact, that helps you grow. You learn to branch out more. You know, it's harder to believe it, I guess, when you're close by. I don't understand that. But it is what it is. So don't be so fixated. The same way you don't compare, we're encouraging you guys not to compare yourselves to people on Instagram, you know, or in social media. Like, define your own, what success means to you. You need to really hold on to that. And that's really what it comes down to. Like, hold on to what it is that you believe in. So now, fear of success. What? Fear of success? That doesn't make sense. That's what we're all working for. Has anybody ever heard of self-sabotaging? No? I'll give you a great example because I'm great at it. So, I know that I need to go to the gym, let's say in the morning at 7 a.m. So that means that I need to be up by 6:15, 6:30, the absolute latest. I find a show. I start watching. Then I look at my clock and I'm like, I gotta go to sleep. Then I start scrolling through social media, or I'll even start working, start to do something productive, self-sabotaging, and then not being able to wake up in the next morning to do what I've really been wanting to do, which is, yes, working and handling my business is very important, but let's say something that means a lot to me, which is my health, getting myself in check, creating a more disciplined routine for myself. I just sabotaged that because of myself, because I knew I had to get up early, but I still stayed up to do these things. So that's called fear of success, right? On the opposite side of this, like of the spectrum is success, right? So when let's say I wake up, I go to the gym and I do this consistently. Like if I do it that day, that means I'm gonna have to do it the next day, right? So let's say I reach my fitness goal. What then? I have to maintain it. If not, I'm not growing. I'm regressing, right? So sometimes we as humans or entrepreneurs fear actual success. We fear doing well because it's like, what's next, So some business owners might feel that their idea will turn into something bigger than they can handle, like, will I be able to upkeep that? Will I be able to keep my fitness life the rest of my life? Why even work that hard if I'm gonna probably end up right here again? And you shouldn't think that way. We all have barriers that impair our success, and some entrepreneurs believe that success brings a burden with it, right? So in order to have a healthy relationship with success, you need to trust your ability to grow your business and to delegate when necessary, right? And remember that while you may think some businesses have found success overnight, which they haven't unless you're Kylie Jenner and you have all these assets and everyone has done all the work for you, then in reality, they may have been flying under the radar for years. Okay, so again, no one is an overnight success. Like I just mentioned, Kylie Jenner had her whole family behind her. Oh my God, she's so successful. That's great, and she very much is. But she didn't do it by herself, and it didn't happen overnight. So if you are a person who is starting a makeup company, a lipstick company, and you're not big like Kylie and you're using her to compare to yourself, it's almost like you're setting yourself up for failure, because that's like that you're not going to reach that overnight. She had other people behind the scenes doing a lot more for her, so don't let yourself down. Don't discredit yourself by comparing yourself to somebody like that, right? You're not in the same league. You're not in the same field. You can get there with time. Give it some time. Give it some consistency. Okay? So, yeah. Speaking of businesses, if you haven't already followed my She Moss Boss page, it is CMOS. Please make sure that you do. CMOS is actually great for the health. It helps with detoxing for people who are actually trying to improve their health or maintain their health. It actually has 92 of 100 minerals that your body actually uses to function. So if you have a body, you can use CMOS. It's great for balancing hormones, increasing immunity, and male and female libido. So definitely check out the page to stay updated or to learn how to incorporate CMOS into your daily routine. All right, so before we close up and give you guys a little bit of what's going to happen next week, I do want to discuss a little bit about excuses, right? So before we continue, we've all known that excuse that we give people when we really don't want to do something, right? So excuses. We all have them. I can't leave my job. I don't have enough money or funding. I don't have a logo. It's not the right time. These are all things that we say to ourselves when we're trying to self-sabotage. These are things we say to ourselves to get people to stop questioning us and asking why not more. That is a way that we close ourselves off. So remember that. The next time you're ready to give an excuse, it's truthfully because you're not trying to dig a little bit deeper, right? Now, there are things, of course, you may actually not have money. There are actual circumstances. These are circumstances, right? Not excuses, right? So if you don't have enough money, how can you make more money? If if you can't leave your job, um, does that mean that you can't be an entrepreneur? Not necessarily, no. There are plenty of network marketing businesses, part-time businesses, things that you can do, startup businesses, simple, that you can do to get the ball rolling, to create money, to later then create equity for your other businesses. There are ways. And that's honestly why we're here. We're here to help you guys. We're here to inform and show you guys more and more what you guys can do to keep your hustle on. So, with that said, I want to leave you guys with some resources or information, or write some homework. You already know out here teaching lessons. I want you guys to, if you haven't read any of these books, I definitely recommend them. They're available on Audible. You can even sometimes YouTube. I personally like audios because, again, I have a neurodivergent brain, so it's very hard for me to just sit there and read and not fall asleep, or I lose track of what it is that I was like kind of like reading because my mind just kind of wanders off. So I really enjoy audios because I have AirPods. I'm running errands, usually, food shopping. I food shop for like 2 weeks anyway, so it takes me a while. It takes me like 3-4 hours to go everywhere I need to go and come back. I know my fiance must love me because I'm over here, taking all this time to make sure that he got good food in the house. Anyway, and I listen, and an audiobook, believe it or not, a long, long, long one that's like mad pages with mad information is like 6 hours. Now, I know that may scare you, but again, that's something that's really, really long. I just read or listened to an Audible book that was an hour and 47 minutes. Okay, so there are a lot of things, a lot of resources out there. So definitely give audiobooks a try if you're not a big reader. Okay, so I'm gonna give you guys 4 suggestions. 4-Hour Workweek by Timothy Ferriss. Great listen. That one is a little bit long, so you would definitely maybe listen half an hour a day, or an hour a day, or whatever fits your schedule. Rich Dad, Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki. That one's really, really good. It helps completely change your mindset. You're going to realize that you need to do a lot of changing for for financial growth. It helps with financial literacy, right? It's really good for that. The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck. This is by Mark Manson. If you are having trouble getting past your fears, rejection, what people will think of you, this is such a great read. It literally helps you get out of your freaking comfort zone. It is actually, some of the things are pretty funny, pretty relatable, a great read or listen. I actually have the book, and I've had the audio. And then the 7 Spiritual Laws of Success by Deepak Chopra. That one is actually the one that I mentioned that was an hour and 47 minutes. If you are cleaning, or you're food shopping, you're running an errand, definitely give it a read. Like, I like to turn it on the same way I would listen to music. It's just now information, and I'm able to take in what I think is important, or sometimes I have to run them back because maybe I might be a little bit distracted, but for the most part I do catch a lot of things, and I'm like, oh snap. Sometimes I even have to stop and talk to my fiance or talk to somebody who's nearby, because I'm like, oh my god, I just received this really great piece of information, right? So those are definitely audiobooks or books that you should check out, and let me know. I'm gonna be posting these actually on the How to Hustle podcast Instagram page, so you guys definitely let me know if you've read them, or when you read them, or if you start to read them, or if you're whatever. Just let me know what you think, your comments. List them there on that post, and that'll be up sometime, I think today or tomorrow. So yeah, you guys will know what resources to look up. look out for. So next week's topic is actually going to be plan to fail if you fail to plan. And how to kind of like plan to get started, or plan for your next goal, plan for your passion project. How do we go about it? Because I need something that works for me. You need something that works for you. How can we even just figure that out? So we're going to be offering different ways that you can plan, and going to be learning a couple of things that you can apply to your business. So yeah, guys, thank you so much. Oh my God, this is an episode 2, our official second episode for the How to Hustle podcast. Please make sure that you guys stay updated with our Instagram posts. Please interact. We definitely have fun with you guys with your thoughts, your comments. Definitely make sure that you guys tag a business. Stay motivated, stay hustling. I love you guys. Also, because I'm a hustler, please make sure that you check out my latest photo shoot on OnlyFans. The username is YouLoveKat on OnlyFans. And shout out to FTV Radio and Clout Media. Thank you so much, guys. Have a great one, and I'll see you next Monday.